Hola, bonjour, and hello, everybody. You are listening to Worldwide Tea. It is the only international podcast, the only local podcast that covers international drag race seasons in every way, shape, or form. Maybe we're international. Who knows? We'll take it on the road, see what happens. As always, I'm Evan Saudi from Pop Matters.
I'm Gregory Old from the playlist and sometimes in the LA Times.
And Greg, it is another magical week in the land of Espana. Somehow we keep having Supreme with the worst possible props within the context of the room ale. We have so many things happening, and this is turning out already to be a bit of a spicy season. Uh, yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you before we talked about the main episode, is this not one of the most dramatic, like we've had dramatic casts in the
Mhm.
past. We've had conflicts on like Espana, and on the last season we had, what was her name? She was create the
Angelita La Perversa,
Thank
whose
you.
whose
We had
spirit has inhabited Krystal.
I don't think it's no. I think she's inhabited Nyx. Like I'm sort of there's no team here at all, but if I'm on any team, I'm on Team Krystal. I just but anyway, is it my I guess my question is we're gonna do the deep dive into the episode, but now that this episode is over, is it starting to be a little too negative? Is the drama sort of overtaking the natural competition, the cunt, the nerve, the talent? What do you think?
We'll get into the very specific fight that we're talking about here because there are a couple fights that happen this episode, and looks like, according
Yeah.
to next week, even more to come. But very
Mm,
specifically, the fight, the context of which they are fighting, pissed me off rather severely.
yeah.
And we will talk about why, because it was about issues that are things that not included in the course of the show. We'll get there. But before we jump into that, let me just say, more than anything else, in this House
Yes.
of Love, we believe that all drag is valid. No queen ever deserves online hate. As American entertainment journalists, we may not get every cultural reference, and we always appreciate
Nope.
corrections. And there are some truly great queens who aren't good at Drag Race, and we love them all the same. With that said, before we actually dive into season 5, episode 4 of Drag Race España, Greg, you have the better feelers out there, I think, than I do on this. What's been the reception of the season so far, just kind of
You know,
overall?
until this episode, the reception has been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's paying attention to the Drag Race universe, there's been a lot of posting and stories about how last week's episode, which I loved more than you did,
Mm.
uh,
Yes, you did.
is
I did not give
is
it a 10.0 on
no, you
IMDb.
did not give it a 10.0 on
I still
IMDb.
liked it. I
And
still liked it.
and I will say
Yeah.
this as someone who has to, for my job, sometimes look at IMDb and be like, all right, are these real people or are they like a small
Bots, yeah.
400? It's over 400 votes. That's actually a lot of votes for a TV show. For a
Hmm.
movie, it's not. But for a TV show, and especially a reality competition TV show, that's a lot. So
Hmm.
I would take it is the season has been beloved. I thought this was a very good episode, but the drama is, I mean, I had a friend of mine, I was traveling today, literally messaged
Hmm.
me while they'd watched the episode today, being like, these queens are spicy. Like, it's people are noticing, like, everyday fans are noticing, like, wait, maybe this is a more drama than we were expecting. So, before we go into it, really quick, one more time, Evan, do you think these are the queens trying to make good television, or do you think it's just inherent to España?
I think it's inherent to Espana because at this point, especially with the fight that happened, that was too real. That was too
Yeah.
real to be anything that other than staged. And at this point, we've seen staged fights, and it's not about other queens necessarily so much as it is about personal experience. A lot of personal narratives in here. I'd
Mm.
say let's get into it. And before we do, everybody, follow us on the YouTube, follow us on the Spotify. So many of you have followed us on the YouTube, actually. We've been noticing a lot more people showing up now that we've broken up the episodes by individual franchise. So thank you so much if you like what you're
Thank
hearing.
you.
We're also covering UK. Please listen to our Legion Royale coverage. It was pretty great. So much more to come. But most importantly,
And
we walk back into the workroom and then we find out that ultimately this was a double save that we just had. Farron notes that it was actually Nori who gave the heart that saved Farron by accident, since Farron was the one who saved, which was very hilarious. I did have a lot of specific notes about when they came back into the workroom, but I do have notes about the next day, unless you did, Mr. Gray.
All I noticed is that the producers wanted to make sure that we know that Alexandra Doroval and Krystal want someone to go home. And you know what?
Hmm.
We do too. So we're all for
So,
it.
yeah, we're all for
But
it.
we do find out, we get to see what the judges are going to be wearing, eventually. And this week, both hobbies have gone a little more conservative.
A
They're
little
they're
more
sort of a little more
conservative.
more little J. Crew, a little more buttoned up. And Anna Locking is wearing, are those like fox ears? Like, I'm not sure. Little
Fox ears or cat ears or something. I
cat
mean,
ears.
she makes almost anything look good outside of a crimped wig. But I will say that little Ambrosi looking like he's about to do a little Elvis impersonation over there.
Yeah,
That movie was a couple years ago. Austin Butler has that nomination. I think we're good.
we're
But still, it
good.
was very,
I,
very, very cute.
I did have a friend of mine think that, when they shot this, that little Javi had gotten too thin, that he looked a little thin, and I was like, oh, looking out for little Javi. But
I think I know which friend you're talking about, actually.
no, it's not.
But
It's
yeah.
somebody else.
Oh,
But
okay, great.
I also, but I have a question for you. Evan, who is Rebecca, and why, should we care? Is she Jojo Siwa? Is she like, is she Anastasia? Is I don't know who she is, but they
I
who's
I
Rebecca?
mean, listen. It's Rebeca. There's no double letters in there, back to back. But otherwise, she was, a lovely presence. I felt like I'd seen her before, and maybe I'm mixing her up with someone else. I felt like I'd seen her, and maybe I'm totally wrong about that. But either way, she was still lovely. I love that she was there.
She is
Yeah.
giving Real Housewives of Salt Lake City vibes. It's
God, she really is, isn't
yeah.
she? My God.
But anyway, they come into the
Yes.
room, Evan, and they sit down and talk. Evan, what popped to you during this moment?
Well, obviously, it is Krystal deciding to take the strong route and apologize to Nyx over their behavior over the previous week, which is very funny because then in the confessional, she immediately notes that there's not really anything sincere about her apology. And Nyx, for the most part, is saying that for the sake of television, she will accept the apology. Please expand.
Except they showed first that Nyx was the negative one first, saying,
Yes.
"I'm not doing this. I don't believe in this. I don't want to. I don't. I'm only doing this for television. I don't believe her." And then it felt like to me that Krystal was prodded by the story producers to be like, "Well, I didn't really mean it." Um,
Hmm.
Maybe that's not the case, but the bigger point is, in my opinion, is Krystal was trying to diffuse the situation, whether she really felt that way or not. And
Right.
I did not think Nyx was trying to diffuse it. Nyx was still being drama. She was still wanting to stoke these fires. It is the one thing that I frustrated me out this episode is I feel like Nyx, whether intentionally or subconsciously, wants it to always be about her. It is always about Nyx, and it's getting grating. It's getting grating to me. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, what did you
Other
think?
queens shared that opinion, certainly. Well, let me say my opinions for the actual fight.
Okay.
What happens there, because that will be the big thing. We're building up to it in case you're not watching and just listening to it for our lovely voices, and we appreciate all of
Oh,
you.
and also we should be clear. Nyx says she does not believe in apologies in general. Like, this
Mhm.
isn't just a Krystal thing. She doesn't believe in apologies, which is a wild take. Like, I don't even understand how you could be someone's friend and if they apologize, like if I forget to show up and I apologize, you don't believe in it, you're still mad at me? Anyway.
All the feelings I share, but it's room ale time, and Supreme is there, doing her with her terrible dress. She has a little purse with a Spanish flag that looks like it was made in 2 minutes in a design challenge. I don't know why her segments are so fucking cheap. They just are.
I don't
Uh,
understand.
but
I
but
feel
either
like they
way,
rushed
she
them.
Oh God. Yes. Anyway, she comes back into the workroom and in a lovely suit, she announces that any two girls can be eliminated at any time. Spoiler alert, it happens. Most importantly, we get into a stupid mini challenge. It is girls' night out, 10-minute quick drag, and they are taking back shots. They have a box attached to their behind with little balls in it and a small hole, and they have to shake their badonkadonk in order to get the balls out the box, as
And
demonstrated by our insanely hot and delicious and tasty put it in my mouth pit crew member. Do they just like bears in Espana? Because
he's not a
I,
bear.
I
No,
mean,
he's not a bear.
yeah.
No, Evan, he's not a bear.
He's
But
a cub otter hybrid.
his name is Dito, which is a very sexy name if that is his real name.
Yeah.
Um,
And like a
uh,
Dorito, I would like to lick things off my fingers. I'm just saying. I'm putting that out there. Either way, still a stupid mini challenge, but there's three winners. Greg, any other thoughts?
I did think that it may have been Nyx had a great line. She said, or one of them said, "I feel like Taylor Swift trying to do reggaeton," like
Yeah, I
which
wrote
was a
that
good
down
line.
too. That was Nick's. That
Um,
was Nick's.
I
Incredible.
only I think the three winners were Laka wins first, like super
Hmm.
fast, and then she wins a three. By the way, this is actually a a prize I would be very excited about. She wins a 300 euro gift card or gift certificate or whatever
Hmm.
merchandise for Addicted, which in the US isn't very well known, but in Europe for gays, it is underwear and bathing suits. And if you go to Europe and you want to go to the beach and you want to get a bikini, you go to the nearest store and you will find an Addicted bikini or bathing suit. So that was pretty cool. In fact, I don't even know how she'll spend $300 because they're only like 50 bucks. So hopefully her boyfriend or friend or whoever she wants to get one for, she could do. But who else won this challenge? Who came in second and third, Evan?
Second was Margarita, and third was Denabola. Real quick, just on the Taylor Swift trying to do reggaeton. When Taylor Swift dropped the music video for "Shake It Off" back in the day, I
Yeah.
was a guest on an episode of HuffPost Live to apparently
Whoa.
defend her over accusations of cultural appropriation for the twerking segment in her video. Before I entered the live, I had reached out to Mark Romanek, the video director, for a statement that was included in this thing, and I kind of needed to know a little bit about what was about to happen because it was a four panel jury that was on this whole thing talking heads, and I was the only
Wow.
white guy there. So I did not realize that there were going to be certain things brought to me. But either way, it was interesting. So that Taylor Swift doing reggaeton line actually does stick with me just a tiny bit. I think I did pretty okay. Met some really cool people on that. It was a
Did
great time.
Taylor twerk in that video? I don't even
She
remember.
she was with people who were twerking, and I don't think she specifically twerked herself, but it was a really interesting sense of dynamic, and also that controversy has largely died down for the most part.
I would
Uh,
say
but
yes.
the things Taylor do,
But
I
you
never
know
heard back
what?
from her about that, and I thought she was all media all the time everywhere.
You
But
know
who knew?
what, Evan? It's never too
Life
late
of
to
a
bring that
showgirl.
controversy back up. Never too late. There's a whole
Never too late.
generation. There's a whole
Yeah.
generation that doesn't know about it. And I think it's time for Gen Z to learn about this. But
Everyone
more
look up "Shake It Off"
importantly,
on YouTube. More importantly.
speaking of music, we're
Uh-huh.
going to there's going to be three songs. It's basically sort of it's a girl group deal. They're not really calling it
Yeah.
girl group, but it is girl groups in a way.
It's like
And
they describe them as protest songs, but they're all pop songs. So
they're
it's
all
like,
pop songs.
okay, for
It's a
manifest,
yeah.
yes.
Um and there's three groups and Laka picks Farron, Satine, Greco, and eventually Daphne.
How is
Um
Daphne the second to last picked, by the
I
way?
didn't
That's weird to me.
understand. But if you watch it, they are going for their friends first, and I
Yeah,
think she's the youngest and they don't know her as
know
well.
her
And
as
I think
well.
that's probably why. And they
Yeah.
also haven't seen her they haven't done a musical or anything. Like I don't think but they know she's a dancer. Maybe they don't think
She,
she can sing or I
right.
don't
She
know.
won the talent episode one. Like they've seen what she can do as a performer. So maybe it was the singing that was a factor. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
I don't
it
know.
was weird that she was second to last, personally.
Who is Margarita's groups, Evan? Do you have those?
That was La Escandala, that was Alexandra, that was Krystal. So just a bunch of likable people all together at once.
Yes, so
And
exciting.
then leaving out Denabola's group that has Nix and Eva Harrington for the last remaining trio. And of course, it should be noted that Krystal was assigned by Laka to Margarita's group the last
Yes.
minute. And
And Margarita's group was not excited about
yeah,
that.
no, it
Um,
was.
no, it was because Nyx was afraid she was going to get her on her team, and she did not. But they have three songs, and they go and they sit down and they start talking about them. The one of them is Hater. The other one is LGBTQ plus, which someone refers to as "It's So Aerial Wreck," which is such a Drag Race
That
España
is.
reference. I was like, whoa.
I'm glad you caught
And
that
then
too. Yes.
I feel like they never really named the other song, but I believe it was called Match Travesti. So I was sort
Match
of confused
Travesti.
because when
Yes, it
they
was
did
Match Travesti. I didn't get the third song for the longest time, so it was the
which was, yeah,
LGBTQIA. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, but would you like to explain, Evan, what happened? It sort of turned into a little bit of a kerfuffle.
So I'm just going to be as direct and real as I can. Anyone that's watching us on YouTube, I'm just going to stare as directly as the camera as I can about this. So basically, the queens are assigned they have to write these lyrics themselves for these songs.
Hmm.
And so between Maschavesti, Hater, and LGBTQ, they all have different vibes. A lot of people really want Hater. That's a song that is very popular and is kind of decided by it. The groups start kind of fighting a little bit because it's just like, well, I think this would be better for our group. Our group is Hater or nothing or whatever. Ultimate Laka's group, they understand that there's a bit of a fight going on. They're like, you know what, we're just going to take Mach Travesti and we're just going to kind of go our own way. That's what they decide ultimately. Awesome, great. And then it turns into a very, and I'll be honest, Greg, a deeply unpleasant screaming match between the queens. Very specifically, it is Margarita against Nyx because they're talking about haters. I have a lot of things to say to the haters. You don't know my experience, and this is here. And what effectively happens here, and please correct me if I'm wrong about this, they effectively have a trauma off. They basically are talking about
Yes.
like as a trans person, the things I have to go through are so fucking hard. I have a lot to say to the haters. This is a song for me. Meanwhile, Margarita's like, I grew up in the project. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in such a deeply unpleasant area. I had to push through so much. I need to say something to the haters. This song is for me. And they go back and forth, and it gets bitter and it gets personal. Margarita is
Yeah.
saying, Nix, Nix, Nix. It's always about you. How dare you? Eva Harrington doesn't even want to talk about this anymore, so walks away from the table completely, which leaves Nix and Eva Harrington to be 2 against 4 in this debate. They settle it with a rock, paper, scissors, and ultimately Hater goes.
But to be
Oh,
clear
go
for
ahead.
Claire, Nyx isn't part of the rock paper scissors. It's
Yes.
Denimbola, who is also, by the way, super passionate about wanting
Hmm.
this as well, and very upset that they're not getting it. They feel they should get it. There should be no fight. Denimbola is also trying to justify um on like theoretical points as opposed to like trauma points that they should have it. And I
Right.
also think Alexandra de Reval was part of this argument
Yes,
as
she
well.
was. Yes, she
So
was.
it was a lot of tension, and Eva, who sort of shocked me as being like, there's very few. I will say this, especially based on what we've seen in the confessionals. There's very few adults in the room in this
Hmm.
cast so
Yeah.
far. And remarkably, the biggest adult in the room is 20 years old, and it's Daphne Mugler. She is
Yes.
the only one who's like always trying to be as calm and like not spark stuff. And I don't even think it's a strategy. I just think it's her. And she's probably more grown up for her age than she would think. It doesn't remind me of Aquaria, who was sort of quiet and letting everything sort of going on around her and would make a couple mistakes here and there and then just realize I made a mistake, apologize, whatever. But and then they're all mad at Eva. Eva Harrington's team is sort of annoyed that she goes away. And I actually thought she did the adult thing. She's like, I'm not going to be part of this. You guys figure this out. I'll do whatever you want to do, and walks away. Long story short, to wrap this up, they do the rock, paper, scissors, and Margarita wins. And or is it Alexandra who won? I thought it was
And that
Alexandra
it
who
was
did
Margarita.
it.
It was Margarita who
It was
won.
Margarita,
That
okay.
very
With the
definitively.
glasses. Because it's so
Yes.
comp yes.
Yeah.
They don't
Like
so comp
if me and Greg describing this sounds like it took a while, watch it in real time
yeah.
because it took up unfortunate amount of screen time as they
And
were figuring this out.
And I think what's important, this wasn't a fun, oh my God, they're going after each other fight.
Right.
This was a, hey, can we wrap this up? Because we'd love to see the rest of the episode and not have this fight. And for all we know, this was 20 minutes long. Like, we have no
Right.
idea how they edited this down.
Right.
But anyway, Margarita's group gets it. They get the hater
Hmm.
song. And we're all going to find out they were sort of fighting over nothing. Like,
Yeah.
ridiculous. Um, but they start going into the room and they all by the way, they all sit down in their groups. And let me tell you, the editors do a wonderful job of making sure that Nick's Denimbola and
Ava.
uh Ava's team are not in a good mood. Like they are
Yep.
not happy to be working with each other at all. Like there, I don't. It's gotten super personal. And Laka's group is all just like, we are gonna do our little thing and like be fine, and you guys all keep having your drama. Um, I thought that there were before they start uh they go and record the songs, which was also overly dramatic. Probably one of the more dramatic recordings I've ever seen of how queens react to
Mm,
each other. There's some things that thought was interesting that was revealed in the
mm,
workroom. Alexandra wants to make it really clear that she wants to talk about being HIV positive, which she has not mentioned up until this point. I did
right.
really like that one of the other queens said, "Hey, you don't need to do this." Sort of a nod to production, like you don't have to put this in here if you don't want to. And she's
Hmm.
like, no,
Hmm.
I want to. I want to
Hmm.
be an example. And I thought that was very admirable of her. And then we find out something about Satin Greco. Do you remember what we found out, Evan?
I would love for you to tell me.
Satin, so their song is about chasers, like
Yes. Oh,
chasers who love the
yes.
girls and
Yes. Yes.
dressed up. And Satin might like being chased. She might being chased. And
And
I'm
you
not
notice the
saying
fans during the performance, right?
yes.
Just
And I'm
saying.
not going to say that Daphne is a prude. She's not a Gen Z
Yeah.
prude, but she wants to make it very clear to any future boyfriends that she has never had sex dressed up in drag. Gasp. Gasp. Not
You
that.
might even say escandalo.
Escandalo. Was there anything else before they went out to meet the bizarre Pablo Cruz that
No, we're gonna talk about Pablo Cruz and his beard. We're gonna talk about whatever the fuck that shit is. Listen, there's level there. I'm not sure if you've watched any of the franchises we watched. There's galaxies. There's
yes.
bands of gay throughout this universe, and like somehow I think Pablo Cruz is above most of the U.S. Gayness that we undersee, but somehow below due to Bertolini from Brazil. You know, there's an echelon. But when you have a full beard, but there is a T in the shape of your mustache being striped blue, and then a single streak going down the middle of your goatee, that is a choice. That is a choice. What a
I
fascinating human. What a fascinating human.
You know what I wrote? I wrote, Evan, I'm all for self-expression. I really am. I really, but messy self-expression is allowed to be criticized.
Yeah.
Like, if it just doesn't work aesthetically, I kept staring at it wondering, like, why? Like, why
Hmm.
does he think this is cool? Because he speaks sort of like a gay bro, like a gay bro
Yeah.
music producer. And I'm like, is this how you're expressing your queerness? Or did you just wake up this morning and put on some temporary dye over that part because you're like, I'm going on Drag Race Espana and I want to like break it out. But you know what I really want to know? I want
Mm.
to know what his tech, who got a credit in a Chiron and never said a word, Laura Dore, thinks about all this. And also, I want to know more about Laura. Where is Laura from? How did she get involved in this? Is she queer? Is she straight? Wondering, why did I get sucked into this drama? But we'll never know.
Truly, we'll never know.
No,
Listen,
because she didn't say a
some of these
word.
chirons may be paid for. I don't know, but it's a fascinating business. I'll say that much. Rest assured.
Um,
But yes, they're recording the songs.
and I had a lot of I never have comments on this, but there was stuff here that was like, what? I mean, first of all,
Digs and barbs and
I
side, shade. Yeah.
so Satin is hilarious. She again, she is proving to be one of the adults in the room and also one of the most humble, like
Hmm.
self-deprecating. She says I sound like a wet rooster when I sing, and I don't even know what that means, but
I
it
thought
was
that was so
funny.
great. Loved it. And she was too
Um,
high, then she brought her tone
yep.
down. Yeah, it worked out.
And by the way, not a great singer, and admits it, and
Hmm.
it's all cool. Um, Krystal sounds her song sounds like she's criticized immediately in the edit from the other queens for that her lyrics are sort of attacking the haters instead of, you know, reflecting them being hated, which, by the way, you
Hmm.
could still do in the context of the song. Like it doesn't make, I didn't understand the criticism. Um, but the other queens are laughing at her behind her back. So the queens can't see each other because they're facing out towards the camera. So they,
Right.
instead of having them on the side, they have them behind them and they're laughing at her. And I'm like, I don't ever remember on any other season seeing this so intense of queer.
Yeah.
And by the way, they all laughed at each other in a negative way, in many
Hmm.
ways. Did you have any thoughts on that? Because there was more.
I mean, because generally, whenever they do these recording segments, they bring in the groups one at a time. They're normally not all on stage during this. So the live
Yeah.
reactions were a little bit there, probably a ploy by production to play up drama. But like some of them are like, I legit had to stop myself from laughing while they were singing because it's a whole thing. And like, again, it kind of adds to the vibe. Like, yes, was this a good episode? Yes. But like, there is such negative energy between the queens throughout this whole part between the fights and all this and that. Like it's a little, it pushes me a little bit in a certain way, but I know there is other aspects
Oh,
you wanted to jump
the
on.
only
Yeah.
other quick thing is like I made a note, and this is hadn't we hadn't even gotten to the whole episode, and I'm like, Nyx is just a mean girl. Like she's just mean. Like she's in the confessionals, and I don't even think the producers are prompting her. Or she was just saying she was being mean to be mean. Like at some point, it's all so personal to her, and it's blowing my mind. Like it's just wild in a way.
For
I
for
really dislike her as a. I'm so pro whatever she wants to do with her life, but she's making me dislike her so much on the season.
And I'll be honest, that's how I felt about Margarita this episode. Like, I
Mm.
just thought their whole tragedy off with them. It's like, and so it's one of the things where, like, we were watching it. My husband made this smart point of just like, you can't be an ally if you don't sit down and respect the fact that what trans people have to go through is so much harder than any standard cisgendered queer person has to go through. They get it from all sides. They get it from so much more. And there's actually a moment that happens later on in the show that where Nyx kind of talks about a little bit of their experience there. But like, for again, like that whole tragedy off thing felt ugly, and the fact that Margarita was screaming the whole time, just it reeked of something that just was so tangibly unpleasant. And
Mm.
so I genuinely, even after she won a challenge and even after she vived last week, I lost a lot of respect for her this whole episode over the course of it. I'll be real. So I don't think not anyone really comes out good outside of maybe Daphne and Satine, but like per everything you're feeling about Nyx, like I'm not saying I equally see that with Margarita, but I
Yeah.
definitely lost a lot. She went down several notches in my book personally.
I guess I have more thoughts on it, but the other thing is the one other thing that was funny in this episode and self-deprecating and actually made me like her for the first time is Eva Harrington is asked by Pablo if she's a singer, and she goes, "No, no." She goes, "I'm a drag queen who sings,"
Right.
and
She
who's
clarifies.
no, I'm a drag queen who says she sings,
She
which
sings,
is even
yes.
more specific. And I thought that was a great line because
Hmm.
it was very obvious. Like just because you're a drag queen and you sing in bars doesn't mean you're actually a great singer. Um,
Hmm.
but anyway, again,
I think
I
it's the
made
next
it.
day.
It is the
Yeah.
next day, but I'd already made a note in all caps. Have we had a season this shady in Espana history? Like, these girls are cutthroat, and we're only on episode 4. Um, but we get into the workroom, and Evan, it's more angst. It's more talking about tough lives and what. Do you want to start?
Well, Margarita and Nyx both apologize. I thought Nyx didn't believe in apologies, but either way, they apologize to each other, and it does seem more heartfelt than the Nyx Krystal
Mm.
apology from earlier. I didn't have any notes before they start talking about their makeup personal talk, unless you did.
They talked about Denimbola talks about hate on social media.
Hmm.
And I believe maybe Margarita did as well, or maybe it
I
was
thought it was Ferran
Alexandra.
also talked about
Oh,
it too, dealing
Ferenn,
with death
yeah.
threats. Yeah.
About death threats, which I thought was wild. And again, I just noticed Denimbola is putting on that fucking white mug again. Um, I'm
Everyone
like,
loves it.
everyone loves
Everyone
it.
loves
Um,
it.
but there wasn't that. I think this was also when Nyx had her about being at a 7-Eleven or like a mini mart or
Yeah.
something and being cornered by
Yeah.
by
This is right after Margarita and Laka both talk about actual violent attacks that they've experienced,
yes.
including, I think it was Marg who talked about having her whole row of front teeth basically shattered due to some violence that they experienced. They do that, and then Nyx talks about the trans experience as well as the experience of dating straight guys who then, because she's a trans woman, keep asking about vocally and genitalically
Right.
if she's had surgeries and having to deal with that. And it really kind of unites the workroom a little bit too, because she is speaking very earnestly and very from the heart about that
Yeah.
struggle. And I think a lot of people are kind of, for all the dust up that happened the other day, a lot of people seem to be very like, nope, you do have a very genuinely hard experience too. And that was something to take in. What were your thoughts on this whole series of personal talks and confessions?
I mean, I guess my thing is, I thought Margarita's story, I hope Nyx took as why she was so passionate about why she wanted to do the hater song, and that what
Hmm.
she had and what she experienced was valid as well. And I think the day before, Nyx was not allowing anyone else's experience to be valid, that only hers was the worst in a sort of like life, you know, is bad. Like I've experienced, meaning like only I could have experienced worse things than you. And I thought Margarita sort of telling that story, I hope it wasn't said in the episode, but I hope that she realized that yes, that could be a valid experience as well that would need to be shared. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that was the case, but it again, it all did really become about Nyx, and I am so sorry for everything that Nyx has gone through, but I do feel like, and this story needs to be there. It needs to be there all the time, but I feel like we've heard this on Espana many times from trans queens, and it just feels like they keep casting the same story again and again. And
Mhm.
I don't know, that's just my I La Nina didn't have that experience, but I feel like we've heard
Mhm.
this with other queens, and maybe it's just so many seasons sort of like on top of each other. But um again, I have so much sympathy for Nyx and everything that she's gone through, and I hope she's in a better place now after they filmed the show
Mhm.
than she was there. So that's my sort of take. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, they come out to perform Evan,
Yes, they
and
do.
Supreme comes out, and what is Supreme wearing?
Like a leather rocker kind of style. It's better. It's last week she finally redeemed herself after some pretty lackluster runaways. I liked this. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I liked it.
Yeah, leather and chains. Maybe not the wig. Didn't love the wig, but
Maybe,
not the
but
wig.
they're
And
putting their
listen,
budget elsewhere.
yes. And I'll
Exactly.
say this, only Anna Locking could make me forgive those Wolfer donkey ears.
I
Only
know.
she could.
I know. Well,
But
yeah, or just go full furry. That's what everyone else is doing these days. It's working out.
so
Either
really quick
way,
on these performances, I have quick takes personally on what these queens did. If you want to, do you want me to go and you want to chime in or
hit me up.
okay.
Every go. Let's go to
Uh
Manifest Protest
super
Song
fast. Match
Festival. Yeah.
Travesti, which was a little flamingo-y, like compared to the other songs.
Yeah.
Laka, I thought her singing was okay, and that's all I thought. I didn't think she blew it away. I didn't think she was amazing. What did you think?
I thought she was pretty good. She was better than I
Okay.
expected. But then again, I thought the mix for this song was really good. I thought they were double tracked better.
Yes.
Even Satine sounded pretty in pocket.
Yes. I thought Farron was a better singer than Laka. I was sort of surprised. But I thought her dancing was a little more clumsy in a way. Do you remember Farron's performance?
Vaguely. It was
No,
fine. I
it was fun.
Yeah, that's
It's
that's
okay.
all I have to say. I'm
So
sorry.
Daphne, I guess the concern about her being picked last was valid because she's cute, she can dance, she's not really a singer. Like she probably was the weakest vocally. But she was one. I thought she was one of the better performers of the entire group.
Absolutely. And
Um,
and that's been the whole thing with her. She's been performing well all season, even in comedy challenges too. So again,
yeah.
pick second last, still very surprising to me, but I thought she did extremely good.
And sort of what shocked me when we got to the end is I thought Satine sort of stole the show. Like I thought she was great, and I thought even with her singing voice, she drew everyone's attention. Even though like Daphne, if you're watching us, Daphne had a black. They all were color coordinated, but she had something that drew your attention to her. It was a red and white stripe down her.
Hmm.
All Satine was wearing was like a black coat and a red jumpsuit, and you just kept my eye went to her every time, and it was
Hmm.
super. I don't even know if it was intentional, but just her energy. I thought she won the episode, but
And well, she also low key because her voice was so lower pitched, it just stood out that much more in the mix, and it had
yeah,
this kind of almost like classic style to it, which plays into like her interest as well. But like she really did good. I had like kind of mixed expectations for this group, and they actually really knocked me out. So I was very pleasantly
okay.
surprised.
Out of 5 stars, how many stars are you giving
You're
their
doing this to me
performance?
now.
I'm
Three
gonna
and a
do this
half,
to you now.
four. Yes.
Four. Okay, that's a good. That's good. That's good. That's B plus.
All right.
Um, Up next is
Hater.
I did not know this. It was Hater. And my first thought was Alexandra came out, and I was like, that padding, what the fuck? It was so bad. It was so noticeable. And then I realized later that's part of her normal padding, I guess. I'm so confused. What did you think?
I don't like this queen, Greg. I don't like this queen. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Alexandra. It's just not clicking. And this performance really kind of drove that home for me. It's just she just doesn't have it. She doesn't have the presence. It's kind of
Yeah.
mind-blowing to a degree, but yeah, not my faves.
Was second Margarita?
I can't remember in the order
I
specifically.
don't
I
re
remember Margarita. I
She was
like
okay, right?
yeah.
She was okay. I thought
She
she
was
was
okay. She
fine.
was a little bit spastic in the dance, but like they still hit the
Yes.
marks. Like I'd say the groups kind of went in descending order of quality, if I were to be honest on here. I thought Laka's group did great. I thought this one did okay with the choreo. But yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I actually thought Krystal, I loved her outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved her rap. They laughed. The entire
Mm-hmm.
panel laughed after
Mm-hmm.
the other queens had made fun of her for what she was doing. I thought she was I thought there was no way she wasn't going to be safe. And
Mm-hmm.
if they had judged this individually, she could have potentially been high, but she was safe. What did you think?
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about their feelings about her runway
Yes.
in a moment, but I thought
But
she
on the
did exact
performance.
on the performance. She did exactly what we saw in the talent show. She did well. She hit the
Yeah.
mark. She did solid. Like this is what you come to expect from her at this point. I was not disappointed.
And who's left in this group that I'm forgetting?
Oh, La Scandalo. How could you forget La
Oh, La
Scandalo?
Escándalo.
Your favorite
I
queen of all time.
I said she was okay. Like that's I just she was like the
What's your star rating, Greg?
I thought to be honest, I thought this song was not as great as they all thought it was. Like
Yes,
in terms of melody.
I would agree.
I would give them a 3. I was not blown away by this group.
I would agree. That's
And
that's exactly. It felt safe, and if the other group had performed marginally better, this would be the bottoms right here, unquestionably, hands down.
yeah. And then last but not least is we finally find out the name of the song, and it's A World Without Closets, which, actually sounds like it
I,
could be a hit song title. Like it's so out of the box. Like you never
yeah,
know.
life of a
Um,
showgirl.
the first thing that I realized was that Eva can comes out and she can sing. Like she can absolutely sing. She's probably one of the better sings of the entire um, performance. Do you have any other thoughts on Eva before we get to everyone's favorite Nyx? Oh, she was
Sorry, Greg. I'm
what?
looking over
Yes.
it, making sure that you're doing the same thing I'm doing. Sorry,
Yes.
that was my
I
bad.
did notice that, yes, she did start looking at the other queens. That
A
was
lot.
definitely
And
a lot.
maybe it wasn't in the edit, but like it really like yeah. That was the other thing too, where like I will say in the last group, in the edit was very kind to La Scandalo because there were a couple times when she wasn't hitting the choreo on the same thing. But yeah, for Eva, it was bad, Greg. It was so bad. I knew she was in the bottom the second she hit that stage. Great
I
voice,
thought
but
her
like
voice saved her.
oh, not the performance though. But then that
Oh,
brings to a very good question about Nyx and Eva, or sorry, Nyx and Denabola too, because for me. Nyx did pretty okay,
I
all
thought
things
she did
considered.
okay until they
Yeah,
showed in the judging more editing and about how off she really was. And
yeah,
that made me go, oh, it was this because I noticed moments, but then they'd cut away because they were doing a focus on something else, and I was like, wait, I didn't think they were hiding. I think it was just the live
right.
cutting. And then they
Hmm.
went back and they like because the judges had clearly seen something that wasn't in the live cut. And by the way,
Hmm.
if you don't, if for everyone listening, when they shoot the show they shoot it like a live TV show when they do
Hmm.
this stuff on the runways, no matter what the franchise is. They don't just shoot and then go and edit it. They add shots in later because it's such a long show and it's so much that has to get captured. That's how you sort of do it. So that's sometimes why things get lost and then they'll show it later. I did think that Nyx was funny, but I made a note immediately that her choreography was off. She was
Yeah,
better on her own, but when she was trying to be with the other
to do the
queens, she
group
was
stuff.
just as bad as Eva. So I
Yeah.
was a little worried for her.
But then, Greg, Denabola
Good.
kind of brought it. Kind of
Yes.
brought it. And it's the point now where, like, now that I've seen her in a couple different performance challenges, I'm like, and maybe I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself, but like at this point, I could my weirdo fucking queen pick that happens every season might have it. Like, I don't know if she's gonna take the season. I don't know about that, but like she might have the goods, fashion, comedy, performance wise, to actually go far. I'm like pleasantly, quietly surprised. I'll say that.
But
What were
Evan,
your
what's the over under that there's at least 2 more episodes with a big bow? Like a big
okay?
collar.
Oh, we're getting at least two more. We're getting at
Two
least two
more.
more.
Two
We're
more.
getting two more. I can almost guarantee that. Maybe one of them will be like edible or something, and that's the gag. Who knows? But either way, what is your star
I,
rating?
I will say the other thing about Dana just to be clear for everyone listening, if you haven't watched the episode, she can sing. And I don't
Yeah.
think we knew that before this episode. So that's for down the road if they do a musical, like she might be more safe than you would have thought for the normal, like artsy sort of like fashion
Hmm.
design queen. I would give them, I'd give them the same. I'd give them a three. I
I
thought they
give
were,
2 stars to Denebola and a half star to the other two.
whoa, damn, you really hated them.
I'm
Anyway, it's time. It's time for the runways. Time for the runways. Category is dysfunctionals, whatever that means.
Dysfunctonus, which means fruit. I think that is, and they all are fruit for
They're
this
trying to
runway.
be.
Yes,
Uh,
that's the emphasis. Yes,
Up first was Anambola, and she is wearing a kiwi-inspired look. I thought it was
kawaii.
kiwi. Kiwi. It's green with a marvelous green shaded wig, and she says that she feels uh oh, I forgot what sour and razor sharp, and it gives that. I actually thought this was a really, for her, a very different look, and I sort of liked it.
This is the best that Ginny Lemon has ever looked. I'll be honest.
Oh,
I
or
think that
Acid
she
Betty.
like it's one of the things where like at first it felt so incongruous, but the more I sat with it, the more I really drank in the details. It's like this is really well put
Yeah.
together. Like she every once in a while she surprises me even still. I'm a big fan of Denebola.
Up next was Alexandria Duraval, and she is a watermelon. And she comes out with a big poofy, or she says she is, with a big poofy top. And then she removes it to reveal what I thought was and I know you don't like her, an absolutely fantastic look. I loved this. Not sure she needed so much of the jewels over it, but just the
Hmm.
bodice and how it was stoned, and it gave watermelon, but it gave drag. I really liked this look. Did you at least like her look, Evan?
I did. And there were two
Oh,
watermelon looks on this runway. This is the more successful of the two. I
yes.
just thought that green tool reveal was extremely cheap. The look
Yes.
could have stood on its own without that shit. Truly, truly.
You know, if you're an international queen or a US queen, or you're perhaps going to potentially be on Drag Race and considering, submitting what's it called when you an
Audition
audition
tape
tape,
or yeah.
because they're still begging people to submit audition tapes for season 18,
19.
19, which they've never done before, which is a little scary. But I gotta say, I think, um, you know what? I we need to retire the term Hollywood glamour dress, Hollywood movie glamour dress, because Nyx comes out and says she's wearing a Hollywood glamour dress, and to be honest, that is something that any queen of any age references to any dress from the 1930s or 40s. This is not a Hollywood glamour dress. It's just cut like a 1930s or 1940s dress. And I'm so sick of that being their like way to try to get out of it.
Yeah.
That needs to be a new rule. And she says she's eating fruit up like her rivals, and there's sort of like
Moldy.
stoned and moldy fruit on her. But all I could look at was the terrible white fur lining on
Yeah.
this dress that just looked so cheap
It's
and so bad.
mold.
Boy,
Anyway,
she's
all I'll
looked
say
better
is
than
that I
this.
think Anna Locking I think clocked it well of just like I would love to see like a train or something that had all sorts of fruit on it,
Yes.
like taking it to the logical extreme instead of kind of the safe-ish gesture. And I fully agree. It
This was
was too
close to
timid.
this was close to design challenge. Like
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up next was Krystal, and she comes out as a fruit tree. And I have to say, when she first came out with it, and it gave very much, by the way, Kennedy Davenport, Canada versus the World, and her tree look. But I loved it. I was like, this looks beautiful. And then she pulls up the cape into like a tree with
Yeah.
red apples, and I did not think she needed it. I did not
Really?
know.
Oh, I liked
I
it.
thought it looked better below. And then what made it worse is she had that beautiful gown on, and she took it off.
I fully agree there. Fully agree there.
And
Save
the
it. Save it. You had the look already.
and the
Genuinely
1000%, and the look underneath was not as good.
at
And
all.
the first look looked so polished, and the second one looked like a lip sync outfit. And I'm like,
Tons of
what?
percent. It would have been more cunt if she kept it for an actual lip sync and did it
Yes!
then. She didn't have to reveal everything just because you have it there. Like that would have been
Oh,
such a shock. Like learn how to reserve, learn how to save. Like I was very
oh.
disappointed by that.
Actually, we're
I
gonna come
still
back
thought
to
the
this
dress had
point.
impact.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna come back to this point because I think it ties in, because I think it's what the judges are really saying to her.
Yeah.
Up next was Eva Harrington, And I have to say this. She says she's stepping out of her comfort zone, and this is remember she's a Gran Canaria
Correct.
queen, and she has not seemed like it up until now. And this is the
Hmm.
most Gran Canaria look she has done. And
100%.
it is, in my opinion, and I was shocked at the criticism over it, 100% the best look she's had so far. It's stoned, gigantic strawberries for the gods.
Hmm.
I sort of liked it very, very much. I didn't love it, but I liked it. What did you think?
I also liked it too. I didn't think it was as focused as some of the other things because like it
Okay.
was just a lot to take in. But the judges did clock. I had to rewatch this part actually. The judges did clock. She couldn't fucking move in this fucking thing. She was
Yeah.
on the runway. She was doing like little like stops and like it was like low key in real time. It was painful to watch. Like she needed better than this. It was not well thought out in that sense.
This was the one a rare episode where two times they don't show us something initially, and then when the judges critique, they go back and show other footage because I didn't notice that she couldn't walk the first time.
I didn't
And
notice it
I
either. My husband said that that part was there and I missed it there. But if you're
oh,
seeing it too,
I
maybe I'm
didn't.
having a mass delusion situation here. But
We're
like
we're
either
both
way,
having mass delusion
I
because I
think I'm
don't
just gonna
yeah.
bring in my husband. I'm gonna tag out. I'm just gonna have him do the
Yeah.
rest of the episode. He's so much more.
Does he want to do
He,
UK for you too? Um
oh
uh
please,
Up next was Pennywise from It. No, I'm sorry, it's Farron. And she says she's an orange, and I have to say
girl,
this,
fuck off
Evan,
with
if
this
she was
shit,
not in the group that she was in, she would have been bottom boots for this look. This is
girl,
supposed to be an orange. You know what would have
girl,
helped? She's wearing
anything.
no tights. She's just showing regular leg, not anything over it. Wear orange tights or green to make it seem like an orange or something. Um, and and as Mama Pao would say, the
The
shoes. The
shoes.
shoes, these terrible wedged platforms. If Raven and Raja were doing an Espana fashion photo review, she would walk off set. She would hate these so much. She hates wedges like this. What did you think of Farron's look?
So, for a brief while there was the AAA girls, and that was a group that happened, and they had some terrible songs, and they lasted for a bit. I think we should form a group called the AA girls, and our first song should be DRAG Closet because that's what the
Yeah.
shit is. It's so fun. It's like you clearly there's a little bit of like tiny things on there. You grab this, it's a rush job. It's so
Yeah.
bad. It's barely a fruit. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah, I hated
Yeah.
it too. Up next was Daphne Mugler, and she is a burlesque tomato. And I have to say, I like the
None of those
idea
words
of
are in the
it.
Bible.
No, none of them were.
Yeah.
She needed maybe one or two more strands. It
Uh-huh.
needed, it when she turned, it was a little too see-through. It needed to be more concise in that way. But the effect was strong. It gave tomato. I believed it was tomato or tomato,
Yeah.
and she looked beautiful in it. It was more, it wasn't groundbreaking, but I didn't think she was like trying to pull a fast one, like sort of with the look. What did you think?
Tomato, 6'7", lots of things. I would say
Six,
that
six,
overall,
seven,
six
six,
seven,
seven.
6'7". Ah, God, now it's infected you too. I'm so sorry. But most importantly, the thing about Daphne and the thing that's like genuinely impressing me about her is that this is a very minimal look, but it's still effective. Like
Yes.
I am like stunned by the fact that she's able to get away with what she does because she is so smart and so astute about these looks. This would ruin any other queen. She did it so
Yeah.
wisely the way that she went about it. Is it the look of the week? Absolutely not. It's still solid. I got fruit out of it. I could guess it was a fruit runway by the way I saw it. Just overall very good for her. Could have gone further. Still did solid. She saved herself. Absolutely.
So La Scandalo is next, and
Fuck
this,
off.
oh
Fuck
wow. I mean, I
off.
have to say, this is one of the
Fuck
few
off.
times the judges read a queen correctly to filth. She says she's a fig underneath, and she says she's
Girl.
coming out in a fig-shaped top taffeta
A
sort of thing.
yeah.
And then she reveals a regular ball
A
gown underneath.
regular ass fucking dress. Girl,
Uh,
it's more the fact that when she was holding this light purple sheet over her, it was just saggy. It was just there. It's like holding up baby's first blanket for peekaboo. Like it was just so bad. It was so bad. I think that overall the judges' critique said that they actually kind of liked her performance, but
they
she's
did.
in the bottom because of this runway.
Yes.
and deservedly so. It's that bad. Like it
And
just
and you could see her hair popping out of the wig. If you and it popped, by the way, I was watching it on a laptop in an airport and it popped for me there. So I can only imagine on a big screen it was even worse. Up
Ooh,
next is Alaka. I am very confused because I know what she was doing. She was doing a skewer. I thought it was an
yeah,
olive skewer for a drink because
for
she
a
had a drink in
martini.
her hand.
Yeah,
Also, there was more on it than would normally be on a skewer for a drink, so I was
correct.
slightly confused. Um, I thought it was drag closet. I thought she'd had this for something else, and she thought it fit the prompt because it's not a fruit, it's an olive, it's a vegetable, it's not a fruit.
Drag
Um,
her.
or
Drag that
maybe a
bitch.
friend had this costume, and I didn't like the wig color. I didn't think the wig color worked on her, especially when she wears blonde and she has her mustache and she hasn't colored it. It looks weird, especially if there's no other costume. It's like because she's
Mhm.
just skin. But they seem to love it. What did you think?
This was fun. Like it's I
Okay.
understand we could get lost in the technicalities of it or some of the other things there. This was stupid. This was enjoyable. Like, would this do is this necessarily runway worthy? You can make that argument as to whether it was or not. Would this kill at a club? Absolutely, if you saw this at fucking precinct or something. But like overall, I got the effect. It was silly. Is it the look of the week? No, it's not getting 4 shoots like as I found out we just gave Venus Deluxe when they were doing fashion photo review for Drag Race Philippines Slation Royale. It's not that.
Oh.
But overall, it was fun. It was not great. It was just fun and like I'll ride with that. Like sometimes I can be a little bit hypercritical of this, but otherwise I can just let the effect wash over me. If this was a drag closet and she pulled this out, effective, safe, it worked.
I will say very quickly, bitch pudding would never. She would kill this. We've got two more. Up next was Margarita, and she is a watermelon look with gigantic breasts, and she is selling it. Like she is selling those breasts. She's bouncing up and
hmm
down. I thought it was super well made. Not sure it needed the gigantic breasts.
hmm
But it's fun, I guess. What did you think?
As similar again, we already had another watermelon look that was more impressive, even if it was from Alexandre de Rival. Uh, It was just, I feel like I've seen this before. I'm literally
Yeah.
forgetting it the more we're talking about it. It's just one of those looks that just doesn't have that pop. The breasts are the thing you're going to remember about it, and even then, it's fine. Yeah.
The 2025 trend of queens who have been inspired by Jimbo and then
Jimbo,
Plain
yeah.
Jane inspired by Jimbo, doing gigantic big breasts, it's getting a little old. Like,
And like, bear in mind that Jimbo did not invent big breasts, but she did popularize it. And the fact that anytime someone does something similar, you're going to be compared to her unless you do something different. Like, it's
yes.
a very, you have to know your audience, you have to know what you're doing, and it's just reads as copying. So yeah,
Just like Skrillex too. They're just copying. They're like they know it sells, they know it works.
yeah.
Last but not least, our Lord and Savior, Satin Greco, or Mother, as they called her at the beginning of the
hmm
episode.
39
Um,
years old.
she
The
she's
Suki
giving
doll of the
she
season.
says she's giving grapes. I didn't think it was groundbreaking, but it worked. But I did notice she was not on the runway very long. This was a quick edit. They went boom, boom, boom. It's like 3 shots. I don't think they wanted the audience to look too closely at the dress itself. What did you think?
This is drag closet, Greg. This is so drag closet. I think she added a couple things to it to make it grape. Oh, but this sucked. Like, I'm sorry. This did the bare minimum in terms of looking like a fruit. Like, it did its job certainly. Girl, I don't think she's going to deliver an all-timer runway package for us. It was
No,
fit the prompt, and that's it. That's all I will say.
agreed.
Yeah.
So we find out that I think they called themselves Yesis.
La Yesis, yes.
The Yeses group, which was the group that did uh oh my God, what was that song? But anyway, it's
Mats
locked
Travesti, yes.
Mastaveci. That they are the winners. We are not doing the Rue, I'm going to judge you all individually, even though you were in groups. They're
Yep.
actually giving the winner group the safe or the win. And out of that group, who is the winner this week, Evan?
It is your all-time favorite queen, La Cayudilla, just sweeps it with her fascist mustache, and she takes the actual win-win-win. They all get a prize, which is nice. They all get something from Iron Tiger in Copenhagen, whatever that is.
They
But
they
then it
get
actually, yeah.
they get 300 euros of products that are not defined. We don't know what they
I
actually
love
are.
products. I love products and I love content, and I love those things in conjunction with each other, Greg. But
Um,
yes. But then she wins
But
the actual real prize. Yeah.
right, the real prize, which was, by the way, she gets to stay at the Axel Bilbao Hotel. And actually, Axel hotels are awesome. They are sort of a gay hotel chain in Spain. They're pretty great. They actually just opened one up in Mykonos. Yes. So if you're ever in Europe and you see an Axel hotel, there's a chance that there may be a day drag performance there out by the pool. But that's a really good trip for her because she does not live in Bilbao, so it's a real trip.
Hmm.
She's not going home. But I didn't think she was going to win, but she won. So yay!
Yeah. Yeah, there's listen, we've had some controversial winners that we've covered this year in 2025 for just individual challenges, not looking at certain makeover
Yes.
challenges in Drag Race France All Stars at all, not that. But this is like I could see it. Like I did a solid job. I think I liked her vocals maybe a little bit more than you in the overall performance, but overall, like, sure, why not? Like, it doesn't feel undeserved. Let's put it that way.
So for the judging, just overall, were there any key points that popped to you in terms of what the judges' critiques were in
Uh,
general?
oh, Overall, I just thought it was wild that they did accurately talk about the Scandalo having the outfit being that bad. I
Yeah.
thought that was actually kind of bold of them to do so. And at other times, it kind of felt like there was kind of a mix between them because, like, there was no critique for Denibola. You did great. Don't worry about it. You did
She
solid.
got an OVA with her
Yeah,
look.
she got an OVA, her second OVA in a row, by the way, because after last week. So, like,
Are these like
she's
Paula Hollywood handshakes?
yes,
Are,
they are. They are exactly the same thing. It could be left-handed or right-handed. You don't know, but she deserves them. So I'm very happy for her. Good on her. That's why like if we're revising our opinions, I think at this point she's going to do very well the rest of the season. But we'll see. We'll
I
see.
I think she might as well. I did like that they were critical of Nyx. And they again, this was the example of them showing stuff from the runway with both her and
Hmm.
Eva that we didn't really notice before in critiques that sort of pointed out their criticism, and I thought that was good editing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
And
I
Krystal.
I thought oh, we find out that yeah, please share.
Yeah, Crystal reveals as she's getting critiques from Rebecca that, by the way, I was your makeup artist for this one event festival thing. And it's just like, oh, no wonder you look at like me, etc. Which was I wasn't sure how to take that. Where it's just like, oh, that's so cool, but also it's just like you don't recognize them. They weren't that memorable, but like it was kind of a mixed bag on that. But overall, it seemed to be an overall positive effect. People were really liked it. But yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least, my one other thought was I thought that they were nitpicking on Krystal. Little Javi
Hmm.
had this weird sort of blew me away critique where he was like saying that she sometimes needs more polish in her looks and energy, and that they cut then to her doing something like sexy in her performance. And I thought that was a weird critique. Basically, he's saying he doesn't like her camp or sexual teasing, but he's liked 10 or 20 other Espana queens who did it. I thought it was odd.
I agree. I fully agree because genuinely, I thought that this was like one of the better looks that happened. Yes, we could talk about how the reveal later on,
Yeah.
was maybe not as good, but like overall, like I didn't get costumey out of this. This felt like a
No.
genuine ass look, and I thought was impressive. The fact it's sometimes the costumey critique is wielded unjustly, and I thought this was here. What do you mean more? There were so many little glittery items on here. What do you mean it needed more glam? I was personally confused, just as you were.
Was that something that came up in the workroom when they went back when they were in the workroom later? Or
Oh, she had her thoughts, rest
okay.
assured, because when they came
Um,
up there, she in the workroom, they were like, "What did you think about the critique?" She's like, "I'm here to learn. I'm here to listen to the judges."
right.
Yeah,
No, I was gonna
and
get to
that
that, but I was like, did one of the other queens say in the workroom that I thought her look was costumey? Because I thought it was also a queen whose looks were 10 times more costumey. I thought it was a Scandalo who like said something. Am I
yeah,
correct?
I felt like that. I can't remember the
Yeah, okay.
exact. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I don't mean to interrupt. Before we get to the workroom, the queens find out though that
Yes.
not only are two queens going home, three queens are lip syncing, and one will be safe. They did not know this
Hmm.
beforehand. They are all sort of shocked. And
Hmm.
also, it had been brought up earlier by the queens. It's important for everyone who's paying attention because we know if you're doing anything watching this show, you are counting the hearts every
You are
week. You
absolutely
want to
counting the
know
hearts.
who has a half, who has we learned that someone at some point could have three hearts. They could give another heart away. It's so
Hmm.
complicated. It's like calculus. But
I know. I don't
But
like
more
doing math
important,
on my television
no.
shows.
But more importantly, no one has a heart this week, so no one can be saved. So none of these two
Yes.
queens are being saved, which is super convenient for the producers.
Thank goodness.
Do you think that's maybe why they did it this week? Because no one could be saved?
Potentially, but also I like logistically it makes sense. But as we find
Yeah.
out, like it's like there's two queens that might be going home now. They're giving out partial hearts. Like what's going on? And I think they kind of explained it pretty well. But yeah, it was a lot this week. I'll say that much. Rest assured.
But they do
I
go
don't.
into the workroom, and Denimbola is crying and upset that
Mhm.
Nyx might go home or is in the bottom
Mhm.
and blames herself. And I'm like, why are you blaming her for her bad dancing? Like, I
Right.
blame yourself for the. I didn't understand that. But would you like to expand on Krystal's what I thought were just her speak? I didn't think she was being dramatic at all, and they turned it into something it wasn't. I thought the. What did you think?
Yeah, because all she just kept it to herself. She just said like, "I'm here to learn. I'm here to take it from the best. I appreciate critiques, and I might have differing opinions, and I'm going to keep it to myself." And given the preview that we saw next week, this might be the last time she does that. But yeah, that's the sense that I got was that she was just very into her head about it and did not want to express how much she disagreed with all the criticism that she got.
I didn't think it was that serious. I thought they
Yeah.
were just in the back and she was just being honest. And I didn't think she was being, I thought she's like, I'm in a competition. This is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard this from tons of queens over many years where they've either been in pageants before, they know it, and they might disagree. I don't know. I thought they used the other queens to make her, they're making her a villain for some reason when at times sometimes it's justified, but other times I don't think it is at all. And I
Fully
don't
agree.
understand it.
Full agree, full agree. And it's like I think it's easy. She's proven herself to be fiery, so I think it makes for an easy edit in that sense too.
Yeah.
It's very easy to jump into that, but again, there's more than a couple people now. I saw sides of Margarita this episode that I was not expecting, and honestly, that was the other thing is that during that whole fight, Alexandra was also equally fiery too,
Yeah.
and she's been defensive and like just. God, I don't like Alexandra Del Reval. I really don't, Greg. I'm so sorry. But otherwise. I don't remember anything else that majorly happened in the workroom outside of a couple tears and sadness.
No, all I know is they do talk about all the different heart options that are not happening.
Yes.
But as a reminder for future episodes. But they're back on they're back heart, but one
Hmm.
heart, but not a heart,
What
but a
heart?
heart. But they're back on the stage, and Supreme wastes no
Hmm.
time at all, Evan, and just calls out the three bottom queens. She doesn't even like play a game with it. Who are the three
Nope.
queens who are going to be lip syncing for their lives?
It is Nyx. It is Ava. It is a scandalo. Uh,
Evan, please
Gregory.
tell our listeners and viewers how would you describe this legendary lip sync?
I would describe it as all sorts of fucking messy. The song is Duro das Pelas by Rebecca, who is there. Rebecca's living for every moment of it. Where do we want to start with this? Nyx is grabbing the front of the stage. Nyx is grabbing the front of the stage. She's making a lot of faces. She's kind of going in and out of everything. I do think La Scandalo, especially at the start, is actually like kind of maybe doing the most direct. She's maybe embodying the
Hmm.
song the most. And I thought she deliberately was touching her wig, but then it seems to be undeliberate because her white bundle of hair in different strands kind of just falls apart and collapses on itself, which is its own thing. And then she kind of is dealing with the rest of the lip sync, trying to like put it up or whatever. And then Eva 6000 is just doing whatever. She's making the faces, she's getting in front, she has a party screamer that she's gonna pop, and then everyone's gonna play around with it, and it kind of goes off well, and she's going to the back of the stage. It's it's a lot, Greg. It's a lot. What
You
what do you,
you
what do you
you
think of
you
this
did
three-ring
forget that
circus?
it took Eva at least 60 seconds to get out of her dress
God,
and then
yeah,
stumble over it on stage. The
girl.
only I thought also you were very kind because Nyx wasn't just up front; she was cock blocking
Yep.
her the other queens. She's tall and she knows it, and she's not going to let them. I thought Eva was just all over the stage, just back and forth, and I'm like, what is going on? It was messy. They even have the other queens in confessional, like talking about it, like that how
Uh-huh.
messy it is. Um, I did say you know I'm clearly not a fan. But I would say Nyx 100% won this. If anyone won
Yes.
this lip sync, that was not even close. And I will say Rebecca was the happiest person in the room because she was just excited that one of her songs got to be a lip sync, and she's just having the best time. And I think when this episode came out, she finally watched the lip sync, and I'm wondering what she actually thought.
You know what, Rebecca, if you're listening to us, worldwideteapodcast at
Yeah.
gmail.com, worldwidete at Bluesky, and worldwidetepodcast on Instagram. Let us know your thoughts. Slide into those DMs. We'd love to hear from you.
Um, so Nick survives. We find out that she is safe. She is not going home, and she cries. Um, will this calm her down? Will this bring a new side of Nyx going forward? We don't know. All I know is there is a shot of Satine Greco on the back in the back, and she is not impressed with any of this drama.
No,
She is
she's not.
just over all of it and over all of them. I'm wondering if we were going to have a Satin moment in the next couple episodes. Um, what did you think? And any thoughts on the Queens leaving and their runway last lines that they had to say
I
next to each
mean,
other?
first off, they didn't get any like, you were the greatest star that ever was. There was none of
No.
that. No, they just went like bye. And so then both of them in the back of the stage, they got to say the little exit line, and then that was just kind of it. And also, I really didn't like Ava Harrington with her little speech that she gave, her little paragraph of text that she was trying to give out. Like, girl. And it just was kind of messy. In the workroom, they seemed to be a little bit more at ease with things a little bit. They still went ahead and gave out some rude gestures, let's call them.
They,
Yeah, right
I
before
think
they
they
exit the
flipped
workroom.
I believe they flipped the show off as they walked out
Yes,
of
they
the
did.
workroom.
Yes, they did, Greg. And I don't think that was the best move, but you know what? I can't be responsible for that. They at least seemed in pretty lockstep together, so good for
Yeah.
them. But oh man, Greg, that was
The,
that was a little messy.
that was messy. The one thing I will say is I thought they were both calm because I do think there's something about when you're eliminated with someone else, it makes it a little
Hmm.
easier
I would
because
agree.
it's easier to walk out because you're like, okay, well, both of us win. It wasn't just
Right.
me. And that
Uh-huh.
probably, and they knew that there'd been someone saved the week before. They knew someone had to go. And
Right.
I think they even say like we're both the same out number or something, or like we're not one isn't before. They said something referring to that. But
Yeah.
anyway, they flipped the show off. And then, Supreme says her line that I always forget, blah, 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 blah. They
Hmm.
dance, and we get a preview for next week. And Evan, what is next week?
Oh, it's Snatch Game, baby. I can't wait to see whatever Alexandra Del Raval decides to do for Snatch Game. I'm excited for that.
And
It's
Evan,
got to
did you
be.
catch one of the copyrighted characters that was in the Snatch game that blew my mind?
Yes, I believe it's Tuxedo Mouse. I believe it's everyone's favorite character of all time, Tuxedo Mouse, from the Dalt Disney Corporation.
From
Just
from Steamboat
incredible.
Billy. From
Steamboat
Steamboat
Billy,
Billy.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe they were doing. There is a video game based off of that notion called Bendy and the Ink Machine, which is kind of a horror game
Oh,
based roughly in the Disney universe, but not exactly.
okay.
Maybe it's that, but we can't wait to see Tuxedo Mouse and all of their lawyers show up at next week's episode of Drag Race España. With that said, Greg, I do have to ask the question, as much as I love talking about Tuxedo Mouse, who do you think at this point is winning the show? And that's genuine.
I I have to say, even though she has not won a challenge yet. No, maybe she was top two. Um, she was top two. Uh, I still think it's Satin Greco.
Mm.
I am saying I think Satin Greco is winning this season. But that I am open to other possibilities, but that is my take right now. Who do you think is winning?
I could be wrong. I do think Daphne Mugler might have it though. But I think the problem is that Satin Greco, as we've clearly seen, does not have the runway package to back up necessarily a winner's run. However, like Kelly Roller, she might get the Javi Super Pass to the
Wow.
finale. And just they kind of give her a little bit of grace and credit on there. What am I saying? That's so
You just put
controversial.
Kelly Roller and Satin Greco in the same
You know
universe.
what I mean though.
Yeah,
It's
I know,
they're
I know,
not
I
they're
know.
not the same queen. But when the Javis love someone, they tend to go far. But they
They
also
do.
know their bond is not unbreakable. So we will see what
Ooh.
happens.
La
Next
Scandalo. La Scandalo.
Escandalo. And no
Um,
Escandalo's here. She gone, baby.
Listen, we will maybe a little late next week, but we will be here to talk about Snatch Game, and next week, officially next week, we're halfway through, so we will have a better idea, I think, of who potentially could win and who's in trouble, and because queens are finally going home, unless they don't because of the heart.
Unless they don't. But also, it looks like one queen might potentially self-eliminate based on the preview next week. We will see what
Maybe.
happens. But either way, Greg, as always, it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I say. This is who I am and who I will always be. So let the music play. Thank you so much
Let
for
the music
listening. We'll talk to
play.
you all next week. Take care. Goodbye. Boom.